Hi, welcome back to the Gabster channel. My name is Gabby. We're going to talk today about the Denafrips Terminator. This is a DAC that's very popular, and I've had a chance to own it for now at least a couple of years. And I just want to talk about it and tell you what's it like and how does it stack up these days and how I feel about it and why do I still own it. So the Denafrips Terminator is not a strange DAC to many of you. A lot of you have heard of the Denafrips brand, and they do have different tiers. So they have the Aries line, they have the Pontus line. The Aries is like the entry level, which still sounds good value for its price. It's really good. The Pontus is very popular because of it's also the price value. It's a little bit better, yet it's not astronomically too expensive. And then they have the Venus line, which I've rarely seen it around. And then you've got the Terminator and then the Terminator Plus. So have all these different tiers, and they do get better as you go up in value. Starts around $1,000 to close to $6,000–7,000 US on top as you progress further. So what do I think about the Denafrips after having it for 2 years now? And it's still holding up the same. So what do I like and why do I still own it, even despite I've actually built my own DAC? For those of you who don't know my channel much, I have done quite a few DACs and streamers. I can check my other videos and you could see that some of the streamers and DACs I've built are extremely advanced. They stack against some very expensive DACs that are worth between 5 and 15K. So why do I still own the Denafrips Terminator? You have to look at it this way. If you are a DIYer and you're trying to build something, you want a reference to how would you know what you've built is better than this or that. So you need a benchmark to judge it against. And the Terminator may not be the absolute best DAC in the world, but it's still one of the good DACs that are out there. Especially as long, we're trying to stay reasonably priced here and not, paying $50,000 for a DAC and some ridiculous amount. Not that to say that these DACs are way much better. They may just have the better price bracket, but may not have much in terms of quality. But I've never owned one, so I would not be able to tell you if I would prefer a $50,000 DAC better. But all I'm saying is, if you are a DIYer or not, let's say you want to buy a different DAC, I wouldn't sell my DAC and buy another DAC. How are you going to know that it's better than what you already have? So you need something to be as a reference, and that's why we call things a reference. Often the reference may not be the best, but this is a reference for you, something to compare. And that's what the Denafrips is for me, and it's been like this for quite a few years. I've had a lot of DACs come and go, and the Denafrips is still here. And when I build DACs from scratch myself, I try to compare them to the Denafrips to see, did I achieve any sound that is better? Because I truly like the sound of the Denafrips, but I'm trying to better off. So when for example, I built my D11 DAC that you should see behind me, and it took me a little bit of a trial and error, try to get different parts and get things going. And at the end, I was able to achieve a sound, if not better, at least equal. And to compare, you can't try to judge by what you heard a week ago, or even yesterday, or even 10 minutes ago. You have to be able to go B, A, B, and see them right on the spot. And that's the only way you can tell the difference, because your memory will be fogged up by too many things. So that's why I keep this DAC around, to keep it handy, and that's what I love about it. So how does the Denafrips Terminator sounds? The best way to describe it is it almost sounds like it is slightly analog, if that's a word I could use. And that doesn't mean that the highs are muffled or anything like that. It still have a lot of details, but it has a sense of air that I cannot find in my other DACs that I've had. My very latest was PS Audio DAC, was not the version 2, that was the version 1. And I bought it, and I did a video comparing the two. The YouTube that wasn't very clear, but you can tell that it's gone, and what's left here is my Denafrips, and that's a testament that I actually like. And the biggest thing for me trying to get back to the sound is that it has a sense of air. It feels like the music is much more at ease. There's a little bit more space around it, and it's not so compressed. And that's one thing I love about the Denafrips sound. Also, I do like that it takes an I2S signal, which is one of the really good signals. We're starting to see a lot more DACs now accept an I2S signal. A couple years ago, that was very hard to find one. But now we're starting to see more. It's a saturated world of DACs, but I would have to caution you on some of the very, very expensive DACs. I'm not going to say name, but I've had a few that I've bought and sold. I've never even bothered making videos about them. I didn't want to say anything bad about them. But just because you buy a DAC that's worth $15,000, $20,000, that doesn't mean it's going to be worth that much money. It will be good, but not worth the money. So there's a lot of hype, unfortunately, in this industry, and there's a lot of products that companies think that, oh, we'll market for $40,000, $50,000. We're gonna get somebody to buy it, and yes, they will, and that's how they make their money. Instead of selling 1,000 of them, all you have to do is sell 2 or 3 of them, and they're gonna make similar profit. But if you are the average person, all I'm saying, try to listen to something that you want to try. And I'll give you one tip. Often companies, they're not going to give you a $20,000 DAC to take home and try and then take it back. So what you can do is go to their spot, and hopefully you can find a place where they sell those products. And often when you're buying something expensive like this, you can go to a brick and mortar store and buy something. Instead of bringing their DAC to your home, take your DAC to their place and ask them to be able to listen to their DAC and say, can I swap it to my DAC? And now you're comparing the same setup, the same everything. And now you can compare the two and see which one you like. And if you find that that extra $20,000 you're spending is going to bring you better sound, then by all means, buy it. But if you find that it's almost the same, or it's just a tiny, maybe better, you might want to think twice if you want to spend another $20,000 to upgrade. And I think if I want to give you anything from this video, I'm trying to get you to understand is what I call a reference piece of equipment. Everybody should have a reference DAC, a reference speaker, reference everything. So if you are buying something else, you can compare it to. And that's what the Denafrips Terminator has been for me. Now, what I hate about it is that it's not a DAC that you can really change a lot. It's not a DAC that you want to start opening and changing and start upgrading, because it's a $6,000 DAC, so you want to be able to sell it. And if someone wants to buy it, they don't want to see somebody changing anything. So I like to keep those systems alone and let them be, and I tinker with my own stuff. So that's for one side, it's kind of really hard to tinker with it. And so then you can try to build, and you still need a streamer to drive it. Unfortunately, this DAC doesn't have a built-in streamer, so you still have to buy a streamer to drive it. And what I found out over the years is no matter how great and how much money I spend on my streamer to drive it, it really doesn't change a lot in the sound. Some minor changes, but nothing big. And it took me a while to figure out why. And the reason is it actually reclocks the signal. So no matter what you send to it, it's going to reclock it. I used to think that if you're sending signal on I2S, it's not going to reclock it, but it actually does reclock it. So at the end, there's no point on spending a huge fortune on some clocks on your streamer and spend a streamer that has massive expensive clocks and power supply and whatever. Also, it's just going to go back in and gets reclocked again, and it's going to be using whatever power supply it's using. So you get some small changes, but not huge changes. And that's what I don't like about it. So like I said, if you are not a DIYer, it's an excellent DAC. I think you can't go wrong with it. The sound signature of it is really nice, and it's really great. And if you are a DIYer, you could use it as a reference. But at the end, I came up to the conclusion that I'd rather build something from bottom to end. So if I'm going to build a streamer, I might as well just throw in a DAC on top of it and just call it a complete DAC. And this way I don't have to rely on getting anything from the external market. And on my D11, I managed to build a DAC which is a DAC that I love, that sounds really good. Now, I've built the D11, it's been over a year and a half now, so technology in the DAC world changes a lot, and I will be upgrading it with some newer parts, and just to move it a little bit to, again, the next level. And so, again, it's probably not going to change huge, but some minor changes might be in the works. The other thing is it's been very reliable. I've never had any issues with it, never broke down or anything. It's been really good. The company is really well run. They have actually also made a little software upgrade, and it was completely free, and it's a good testament for a good company that's trying to evolve and make some better products and improving the products that you already have without charging you for them. And I think that was a really good gesture that really solidified the customers in the company. I think that made things even better. I hope you like this channel. Please subscribe if you find it useful to you, because I'm trying to grow the channel. It will really help me. Ring the bell and some thumbs up. I'll put a link on this corner about the streamer that very easy to build and doesn't cost a fortune. It's not cheap, but it doesn't cost a fortune, but the sound quality of it is extremely good. And in here, it's a similar system, but with a DAC this time, and also the sound of it is extremely good. These are built in a way that anybody kind of can build them, because you don't need too much of a huge experience to build them, not like my D11 that's behind me, which you can find in my other videos. Take care, and I hope to see you again.